New on Daybreak, it has been a turbulent week for City County Councillor Jesse Brown. Just 2 days ago, he was expelled from the council's Democratic Party caucus, and yesterday, his constituents packed a meeting out of fear of further council action against him. Brown represents District 13 on the council, and he's here in studio with us on Daybreak for his first on-camera interview since he was removed from the Democratic Caucus. Councillor, good morning to you, and thank you for giving us that honor of being your first place to stop for an interview.
Oh, I'm the one who's honored. Thanks so much for having me here. I appreciate it.
Of course. Now, we talked about this during the break. It's a bit uncomfortable for you. You are now on the opposite side of the fence. Instead of fighting for your constituents are fighting for you.
Yes, which was a shock and an honor. I asked for support and hoped a few people would be willing to take time out of their day, especially showing up to the committee meeting yesterday at 4 p.m. That's intentionally designed to not be very publicly accessible for a public meeting. But from my last count, almost 60 people showed up in support of me, which again, I'm just still radiating with love and gratitude for all of that.
Now, let's talk about the expulsion itself here. Now, we have some notes here. Of course, you initially said you were not given a reason for that expulsion.
That's correct.
But it's no secret. You've been very vocal about things happening within the Democratic side, from the issues happening with Mayor Hogsett's administration with the sexual assault allegations.
That's right.
To what's happening with IPS right now.
Yes.
Do you think that was a contributing factor to what happened with your expulsion?
Yes, I feel absolutely certain those were the major factors in what happened with my expulsion. And I think the proximate cause, right, the most relevant recent thing, January 5th, a lot of us missed this because of the giant snowstorm that barreled through Indianapolis later that day. But January 5th, 3 of my peers on the Indianapolis City County Council, 3 Democrats, stood arm in arm with former Republican Mayor Greg Ballard calling for IPS to give away some of its resources to charter schools. To me, this is collaboration with the Republicans. I don't know why we have 2 parties if we're going to be working hand in hand to destroy public education. And so since then, I've been quietly working against that. When my constituents received a text message saying, we support Maggie Lewis, Leroy Robinson, and Carlos Perkins, please please give away resources to charter schools, sending emails to the IPS school board leader, that's when I had to push back. So quietly at first, I reached out to my peers asking, hey, can you explain this? Can you denounce this tactic? I don't think it's appropriate. They refused to give me a straight answer. So I felt like I had to take it to the public and ask the public what they thought. And that, I think, was a bridge too far.
Gotcha. Well, the public most certainly has been vocal. I mean, we've received over 6 emails to our newsroom alone.
Wow.
So I can only imagine how many people are speaking up about this. We did reach out to your colleagues. We did not get a vocal response, but we do have a statement that I would like to read here.
Please.
That statement saying in part, inappropriate accusations about members of the caucus, and that for a caucus to be successful, it must rely on trust, factual discourse, and a commitment to constructive teamwork. Your reaction to that?
I mean, I think that's definitely true. And I think that what I posted was a fact. And if there's anything I posted that was not true, I wish that they would say that directly. And I wish that if there were other reasons that they would be more explicit, because my constituents have questions. I don't want to misrepresent another person's stance. There's 2 sides of every argument. So I don't know why they're not presenting their side.
Now, let's talk about the council meeting that happened yesterday.
Yes.
You went into this thinking that they were going to remove you and that a vote would take place to make that happen, but that is not what occurred.
That's right.
So what are your thoughts on the actions of that meeting and the response you have been receiving since that time?
There have been 2 times since I've been on the council when something was added stealthily to the public notice for council meeting agendas late on a Friday without me hearing anything about it. The first time was when President Vop Osili rallied 17 other Democratic councilors to change the rules of the council to prevent me from introducing special resolutions in the future. The second time was this Committee on Committees public notice. It's incredibly and abundantly clear that the main purpose of this was to remove me from my committees. Anyone saying otherwise, I just asked you to think twice about it and put 2 and 2 together.
The most obvious thing here, even in that video, you see the opposite happen. A lot of your supporters turned up.
That's right.
In anticipation of that, and they were strong, vocalizing that they oppose you being removed.
Which I'm very grateful
Of course,
for.
we already know you are probably in shock just how many people are rallying for you in that sense, but how do you feel seeing that back there and watching the response?
It feels I feel validated, right? So for 14 months now, I've been sitting on 3 committees. 2 of my freshman colleagues who are equally new and novice to politics are sitting on 6 committees. I've never been given a reason for that. There's never been a public reason for that. And so my demand is actually not to just not be removed from the 3 committees I sit on, but to get the fair representation for my district that my voters have asked for, which would be 6 committees just like my peers have. So the fact that they did not remove me from committees, definitely a victory. Would not have happened without that huge show of public support. But the fight isn't over. We're still not fairly represented on the City County Council. I'm a duly elected Democrat. I won by the widest margin of anyone on the City Council in my election, and there's no reason why I shouldn't get the fair treatment of the exact same number of committees my peers have.
Speaking of your constituents and the voters, obviously we are in a very divisive political climate right now all around the globe. But speaking of Marion County specifically, what do you think that this is going to do as the public watches this play out to the political climate here? Do you think this could make things more divisive within the Democratic Party?
I certainly hope so, because right now we're united with the moderate right wing that is fading away and dying within the Republican Party. Donald Trump and Elon Musk are literally just bulldozing their way through the federal government. Mike Braun is removing any even references to DEI, and the Democratic Party is united in kind of soft milquetoast responses that don't meet the moment. We need division. We need to fight through that and push for a radical politics that actually confronts this head on and puts the people in the driver's seat, pushing for more change.
Well, Councillor Jesse Brown, we thank you so much for stopping by this morning. Thank you.
It's been a pleasure.
Of course, and we want to note here, we did invite the chair to come on as well. We did not get a response, so of course we will stay tuned to see if we receive any statement from the party to update you further. But for now, again, thank you so much for stopping by.